First and foremost, I am inspired by people that I find on the street. Their ability to sit there, their ability to ask for help, their ability in so many ways to accept whatever they're going through, whatever brought them to the street. They inspire me, and I always try to honor them.
Yeah, it's always interesting walking around downtown with our son and knowing my son's past and how he interacts with individuals that are on the street is really, really powerful and says a lot about the nature of a child. Do you have any nicknames?
I grew up, they called me Matt Fat Stinking Brat.
Matt Fat Stinking Brat.
Matt Fat Stinking Brat, or is it Fat Matt Stinking Brat? One of those.
What is the most important life lesson that you have learned?
The ability to embrace our challenges, to embrace our pain, but it goes very much with the topic of your podcast about resilience. The ability to sit in pain and learn lessons from it. I like to talk about befriending pain because it has a lot to do with my story. It's so hard for us as human beings. It's not agreeable, but the results and the fruit that can come from that can be so abundant. So as life does, right? And I talked about pain before. Pain leads us to have to make decisions. It brings a lot of things to the surface, or it leads us to unhealthy, what we could call unhealthy behaviors, which I also experienced, right? But you also find in unhealthy behaviors, you don't find the answer, right? It just becomes a vicious circle. And including in unhealthy behaviors, I would also include suicide. Well, suicide is generally understood in its context, but it's generally caused by pain. There's pain that leads someone that I can't deal with this anymore. And so I checked into inpatient care for 4 months, and fascinating and such a growth experience, but so difficult because I was challenged in so many ways. And I had resisted, I suppose, looking at myself for a long time. And then during that I took a sabbatical year. I call that year a journey of coming home to myself. And my general sense was that I lost myself on the way. While I had so many amazing experiences, and I think I did a lot of good, and the good Lord did a lot through me. But I also lost myself in other ways. And so I saw that as my journey coming home. I'd been away from home for so long. It was great to be able to live with my dad. My mother has since passed away. So to live with my dad during that time and really just grow back into who's the Matt Fat Stinking Brat, right? Who's that Matthew that I was so long ago, and how can we not only not go back to that, but who am I? Who am I beyond the cloth and the collar, and beyond what people expect of a priest?
You had a lot invested in that portion of your life to just kind of pick up and try to walk away and into something that's unknown. That's
yes, and there's that as well. It's scary because you step into insecurity, and I remember the day that I received my I finished active duty. I finished my time in prison. You get a dispensation, as they call it. And I was like, oh my, what have I done to myself? It was like 2 days of, oh boy, where all my securities and safety nets, they were gone. Right? So that sort of hit home in that moment. But yes, and I wanted a parenthesis on with this, or just a side point, is so many people stay in very uncomfortable and difficult situations, whether it be in relationships, whether it be in workplaces or positions. They do it because it's what's known. Even if it's not comfortable, it's what's known. It's what feels safer than the unknown. And so, and like I sat in that for 10 years. And I don't regret having sat in it for 10 years because I learned so much along the way. But it's a common human experience. And hopefully that sitting and things like that will help people make the best decisions possible. I'm not a huge fan of, just knee-jerk decisions either, because oftentimes those can be misplaced or really miss the mark. So, but I'm not a big fan of having to sit for too long, when it's really just fear that keeps people in the same place. fear of many, many different types. Just resilience in general is the ability to bounce back and grow. Spiritual resilience would be the ability to bounce back and grow aligned with my higher power.
I think that as we've done this journey and we've heard each person's different definition of what it looks like, it's played out a little bit differently in each person's life, and there's different elements to it. So how do you build up spiritual resiliency within yourself? What do you personally do to form that foundation?
There's a lot there, with my journey, with where I'm at now. For me, vision, the bigger picture is always important, right? Yeah, the bigger picture is always important. And so when I think back to a lot of the trials and difficulties in my life, and maybe just the challenge I'm going through now in a different way, but to see the bigger picture, that has very much to do with resilience. Because the resilient people, and there's three things that make people resilient, and then I'll continue answering your question. And there's a lot of things that can make, but there's three little nuggets that might be helpful. That resilient people know and sort of have a conviction that suffering or difficulty or challenges are going to come my way. Secondly, resilient people select where to focus their attention. And resilient people ask if this is helping me or harming me. If what I'm doing now to deal with, normally resilience happens through pain, through tragedy, trauma, tribulation, right? And so how we respond to that. And I like to use exercise is a big thing, so let's use muscles. Muscles, in order to grow, and let's not even just talk about grow, in order to be better, to be fit, to be resilient, they need to be exercised. And muscles, in order to grow, right, through weightlifting and weight training, they need to be slightly traumatized or torn a certain way. And that's how they grow. And so it's in that, then going back to what I said, to know that when you walk into the gym, you know that pain is going to come your way, right, if you want to grow. So pain is going to come my way at some point. Resilient people then select where to focus their attention when that pain is there, right? And that's why they talk a lot about gratitude, they talk a lot about mindfulness, the importance of meditation, and all those, and the importance of the positive. I'm not a fan, I'm going to, big parentheses here, I'm not a fan of let's just focus on the positive and pretend the negative doesn't exist. So that does not serve us well either. We have to name the trauma, name the tragedy, name the tribulation, name the difficulty, name the challenge, give it a name and claim it. But also understand when I focus on it, is it helping me or is it harming me? How much of this focus helps me, serves me well, and how much gets in the way.